falls 15, 60, it falls Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to Tech, the type of tech that I could afford. So let's begin. It has been a while since I make the series called In Search of the Ideal Earphones. Yes, so I realized that the title is rather long, so I'm gonna shorten it to call ISoMIE, which is the same name but it sounds more cooler. Anyway, it is still called the same title, but I'm just gonna, from now on, I'm gonna just say ISoMIE. So what in store for ISoMIE? It is the Sony's 950N1 and the Sony 950BT. I've been wanting to review these two earphones for a while because it has been with me for a long time. If you can see the quality, I mean, based on the usage, it is actually quite beaten up. But I want to put this in the ranking of the leaderboard to see how well these two performs. Anyway, I bought these two earphones at a different timing, and this is one of my first few headphones that I ever bought, the BT. And I bought this when I was in Japan, and back then the price was about 190 or so. But if you want to get this now, you can get it at a way cheaper price. So I'm just gonna say it's about 150 or SGD, maybe cheaper. It depends on your luck, because this is a very old model and I've been using this for almost close to 7 years, while this is about reaching the 3rd year or 4th year. It's about there. If you guys are new here and not sure what is this, the title ISoMIE is basically, it is a conquest where I try to search for my ideal earphones, hence the title ISoMIE. And the conquest of searching the ideal one continues. How high do I look for? Basically anything that is above 50%, I can safely say it passed my test. To make me use it for a long term, I would say anything that is above 60% is considered good for me. I give it a seal of approval. How do I judge these earphones? Basically, I give 5 main criteria, and these 5 main criteria are the main bulk of the scoring. And what are the 5 things? The first, the short and long term usage. Basically, how comfortable I would able to use any of the earpods. Second, battery life. The battery life I'm judging based on how long it can last, ranging from less than 2 hours and all the way up to above 7 hours. Third, build quality. I assess the build quality in terms of whether it has a lot of metal materials, nice to hold with, or it is like so flimsy I have to deduct marks, and so on. Fourth, portability. It is how well do I have transport these babies while I'm going around. Number 1, it is very bad that I can't even put in my bag. And number 5, it is so small and compact that I could actually bring it in my pockets. Not just my pocket, but the coin pocket. And lastly, drop resistance. Drop resistance is basically whether I could shake the item out and it will come off, or number 5 will be it is able to survive my hip height onto the solid floor. If it survive all that, I give it 5 out of 5. I add in a couple of points to deduct, which is basically if the sound is too bassy or too lackluster, I will have to deduct it 10%. If it is too muffled for me to listen to music, I will deduct 5%. If I seem like watching video is not a very pleasant thing, I will deduct another 5%. And lastly, all about affordability, and my budget for headphones, earpiece or whatsoever is about $50 SGD. So anything that is above $50 deduct 5%, and anything above $100 it will be deduction of 10%. And then if I can list down any of the criteria that I have given, it will be under the miscellaneous, which is the other stuff that will give 5% for each complaints. So it might not be a major complaint, it might be any type of complaints. With that points, it will deduct to the overall points, and hence we will get a final score and we will put it into the leaderboards. So as you can see currently in the leaderboard, the Plextone G20 is still in the lead with 69%. Behind the Plextone G20, it is the Clips T5M, and you can see the gap is quite far. But does this still have what it takes to overtake the Plextone G20? One way to find out. So let's start the ISoMIE test. So first one to be cryptic, it will be the MDR950BT. So this baby is my favorite back then because of it has this button called the bass boost, and this bass boost will give like a very strong punch, and it is literally will bring out the bass out of nothing. Like literally when the song doesn't really have any bass, it's somehow able to bring out the bass when you want it. So it's like really a good entry if you're not looking for any type of sound clarity kind of songs. So this is good like for something like EDM, pop songs and so on. And also it has an option to be wired. As you can see, there's an input button here. There's an input hole here where you can choose whether you want it or not. And since it's a over-ear, it is actually quite comfortable to use, and the clamp is not very strong. It is relatively quite just right for me lah. But I might be a bit biased because I have used this almost like 9 years, and also this earphone has went through quite a lot. Also like the hinge here, because it is made of plastic, is quite hollow, it broke off once, so maybe it also affect the hinge. How is the usage for long term or short term usage? I have to say it is actually very comfortable. I love using this everywhere. However, it is not only over-ear headphone, it is also a closed-back earphone. There's no air flowing through my ear. It will get quite sweaty after a while using this, so I have to deduct it a bit. So instead of giving a 5 out of 5, I have to deduct it to 4 out of 5. Battery life, it is quite a monster. I could use this in a single charge for a very long time, which is basically, if I'm going for a journey about 2 hours back and forth every day, I could use this almost a week due to its massive battery life, about 24 hours or so on in a single charge. That is actually very impressive. I will give it 5 out of 5. Build quality, it is actually quite solid build because it is made mainly of metal and plastic, and the cushion is actually quite it feels quite soft to use, and this is actually my second padding I have changed, but it is also due to the fact that it is the hollow plastic at the hinge is their weakest point. I have to deduct it another 1 point, so I have to give it a 4 out of 5. How is the portability? The issue with this is it only can go this way, it can't fold in, so you have to keep it this way, and if you have a pouch you can put it this way, but you are likely to carry over your ears. You are likely to carry over the neck or stuff it in the back, but it might take quite a space, so I give it a 2 out of 5. Drop resistance, this thing is quite solid, so I give it a 5 out of 5. So move with that, it's got 20 out of 25 points. So does it have any pitfalls? How is the sound ranging from clarity to bass? It is more to the bassy side, so it's about 4 or 5 range. How is the music quality? If you like the bassy, you can turn it on. If you don't really like the bassiness, you can turn it off with just a simple click of a button. How is the video like? Same thing, and because usually you play video, you don't really notice the lag that much compared to playing games. Pricing wise, I have to deduct it 10% points due to the fact it is above $100. Other than that, the other small complaints, this is a micro USB cable, so another 5%. With that deduction, it was able to accumulate of 15% deduction, and with that 15% deduction, it managed to attain from the maximum point of 80%, it gained only 65%. So does the 950N1 fare better? Let's find out. Before we move on to the scoring, I must say what are the strong highlight to say about this. This thing, it is also the same as the BT. It has a strong bass when needed, and you can see over here, instead of the bass boost, it says a bass effect, and every time you turn it on, there's a person prompt you saying bass effect on. And also it has an option to have noise cancelling, which is quite interesting. By default, your noise cancelling is on, so you just have to take note of that. So it is the same thing when you press a button here, the word noise cancelling, it will say noise cancelling on, or noise cancelling off. So yeah, how it has a pretty decent noise cancelling, and it's actually quite satisfying the moment you turn it on and then use it. And also because of that, it is also the same. And also the same for the BT. The N1 also has an input button so that you can use it wired when this baby is out of juice. Alright, so move on to the judging in terms of short and long-term usage. I must say, compared to this, to the BT, this design is more compact, but it is because of the compact design, the clamp feels more tighter than for the BT, where because it is over-ear headphones and also a closed back one, air cannot go through, and because air cannot go through in a hot environment, you will sweat. When it's sweat, it's uncomfortable, and because of that, I have to deduct 2 points. 1 for being uncomfortable when sweaty. 2, it is because the clamp is quite tight. Hence, it is got 3 out of 5. Battery life. This battery can last slightly longer than the BT. However, when you turn on the noise cancelling, it will not last as long as when it is turned off. But it is because it has a massive battery, I will still give a 5 out of 5. Build quality. Around here is metal build with plastic casing here. Because it is built mainly with plastic, I have to deduct 1 point. But the cushion is actually quite comfortable. It's very soft. So I gave it a 4 out of 5. Next, the portability. The only thing that is better than the BT is the fact that I can fold it in this way, or I can just fold it this way. That's how you're supposed to keep it, and it's way more compact to keep in your bag or in your pouch. But the issue is it still have to put in the bag. I can put in my pocket, so I have to deduct 2 points from this, and because of that I have to give a 3 out of 5. Last but not least, drop resistance. Nothing more to be said than 5 out of 5. If you calculate out of 25, I realized that these two guys shared the same points. Does the complaint also lies the same as the BT? The answer is yes. Music quality, video quality, no issue. It is under the bassier side. The same complaint can be said because it is above $100, 10% deduction, and it is unfortunately also micro USB, so it's another 5% overall, which is a 15% deduction. And since it's already scored 20 out of 25, which is upscale it to 80%, deduction of 15%, it falls 60. It falls to, and because of the 80% minus 15%, it is another 65%. So both of them fall on the same points. Quite unfortunate, but it is still quite a refinement from the BT. But the N1 is not the successor to the BT. It is the successor to the B1. But it takes all the element with this into this with noise cancelling. So there is something you all need to take note. And because of that, how well they fare in the leaderboard. As I said, the Plextone G20 is still in the lead of 69%. After added these two guys, it is still in the lead, but this time the gap is closer. it's got 65%, and they comfortably conquered the second and third place, overthrowing the Klipsch T5M and the Sennheiser 6X30 down the pecking order. So we don't have a new champion yet. Who shall be the next contender to fight with the G20? Well, in the next episode of ISoMIE, it is the amplifier headphones. These headphones is another one that I have used for a while. How well it will fare? Is it better than the Sony's? One way to find out. If you like this video, hit that like button. So you should hit that subscribe button if you want to know whether this shall overtake the Plextone G20 or not. And this will be an ongoing series, so this shall be the last headphone I would review for this series, because from now on I will be reviewing the TWS earpiece because they are more compact and easier to transport around. Enough of rambling. Thank you for watching, and this is Nash, and I'll catch you all next time. See ya!